Sigue esto happening in Virgin Container.
Say your name for me one more time.
Commanding General Yahanna.
Try to say it right. General, how you spell it?
Y-A-H-A-N-N-A.
Yahanna.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
We sound good?
Sure. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2 3 4 3 4.
Testing. One testing.
Testing 3 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, you are now tuned into the Blackout on Afro Vibes Radio, the #1 online internet radio station with your girl Tequila. Today we have some guests returning with the ISUPK, but we have a very special individual in the room, the Commanding General Yahanna of ISUPK. How are you doing this evening?
Pretty good. Thank you, sis.
Thank you so much for coming down. I really appreciate it. I know you said you're from the Philly, New York area, so it was a great thing that you came down to Houston to give us the opportunity to talk to you specifically. I've had the chance to meet other members of your organization, so now we get to hear straight from you.
Okay.
And I want you to be as transparent, as truthful, say everything that needs to be heard for the Black community. So just to start off with, can you tell us about the origins of the ISUPK or exactly how the movement began?
Okay, the movement began prior to the turn of the century. Around the turn of the century, Black men came up from Florida who were descendants of slaves and knew that they were Hebrew Israelites. One of our leaders, we call them Abba Bibbins, came up from Florida as well and began to work with the Israelite groups in Harlem. He eventually opened up the Book of Torah, which upon his death, he was killed while trying to teach and convert Muslims at the time. And during that time in the 60s, after his death, or rather after his murder, the brothers got together and opened up the Israelite School of UPK. And since 1969, we've been teaching our people their identity and who they are.
Okay, and could you kind of explain what it means to be an Israelite or the background of Israelites?
Okay, what it means to be an Israelite is to find out the true origins of Black people that came in slavery. West Indians in the Caribbean, as you know, we don't know clearly our identity in this land. Our brothers in the Caribbean have the same issue, and so do our Latino brothers and sisters from Central and South America. All of these are conquered people. And what the Bible does is open us up to the breadcrumbs that allows us to go back to who we are, to find out who we are. When in essence, we are the descendants of the original 12 tribes of Israel. And so what being a Hebrew Israelite is and means is to first, of course, find out who you are. Finally get the shackles of slavery of all these identities off of us. And then go back to rebuild your people. Because as you know, they call us African Americans, which are 2 continents with over 75 countries between both continents. There's no way we could be African Americans countries. In essence, they're giving us an identity that's a no identity. But going through the historical records of the Bible and the scriptures, we find out that we are really those descendants in captivity again, waking up again, coming back to our identity. So being a Hebrew Israelite is to walk back on that road and correct what was done so wrong to us for the last 400 years.
What's your perspective on individuals in the Black community that like put Christianity on this pedestal? Okay. And like I spoke to one of your members about it, you know, they try to condemn a lot of individuals that don't follow the Christian way. Christian household, my dad's a pastor, but I've actually separated myself from that. I feel like I'm more conscious and open to other things now.
Okay.
And I know you said, you have the Torah and you're learning how to find out who you are. Where do you think Christians are kind of going wrong?
Well, we go by not just the Torah, but the entire Bible, Old and New Testament. And where Christians are going wrong at is simple. In slavery and shortly after slavery, we were forced into the Baptist religion. And from the Baptist religion, we branched into all the other so-called Christian religions. But those religions were never the religions of the Bible. They were never actually Christians. They were never actually following what God said. How could you be a Christian and you burning crosses on people's lawn? So they weren't Christians, they were Klansmen. So in essence, we are not Christians in America. We are following the religion of America. We just call it Christianity. So our position is that they're not following Christ at all. Christ never did away with the law. The church has basically become a hustle and a haven for so much evil. I mean, we had a debate yesterday in the church here in Houston, and they were offended because we came out and said, what's the name of that church? Goose Creek Church. They ran from us. They ran, they were scared, they refused to meet with us the second time. And that was because we exposed how the Christian church does not follow God. If you go to the penitentiary and you ask, all the murderers what religion they are, they'll tell you they're Christian. If you ask them what their parents were, they'll tell you they were Christian. If you ask the rapists, the child molesters, the homosexual community has found a social haven in church. They're on the choir, they're becoming preachers. We see what happened with Eddie Long and others. The place for Black homosexuality is in the church. The beginning of the down low started in the church. So this is not a place that is Christians. This is a place that is everything that is anti-Christ.
So I guess for me, the confusion comes in places, you have these Black Christians that's trying to, quote unquote, follow the laws of the Bible. But I almost feel like they use Christianity as a way to constantly forgive themselves for the things that they know they shouldn't be doing, almost in a sense. Like, getting away with their sins. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I can get forgiveness consistently.
You being kind. They use Christianity to remove the law, to remove any rules that God says. That's why if you want to find the worst vile acts that Black people do to one another, just go to church. It all exists there. It all emerged from there. Again, the down low started in church. The lesbian movement emerged in church. Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, who both spent 20 years in a Black church, were some of the biggest proponents of Black homosexuality, things that are against the Bible. And so you being kind to them in that they are on a mission to eliminate what God said and to totally open the door up to sin daily.
I guess in my mind, I can't understand how Black people would want to follow this religion that white people have put upon them, especially during slavery, and not be open to the truth that there's other things that may be more realistic than that.
Well, we have to be careful. And here's why we have to be careful. Because we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. The Christian church and the Christian religion is really the religion of Babylon. It's actually an African religion. What's going on in church, from the design of the temple, from the practices of the temple, are all Babylonian ways of life. But what we got to remember is that the Bible is still a Black book. It's a book about Black people. And those Black people have an identity and a way of life that they are to follow. And that is who we are. So I understand how you would reject that, seeing that basically it's just like Christ said, it's a house of hypocrisy. But at the same time, that's why Hebrew Israelites are being risen up all over the earth right now, is because Hebrew Israelites are starting to prove out that, in fact, the Bible is correct. It's just that it's been used by a total another religion and philosophy from America and, preyed upon.
I just have one last question before we move on to focus
Please.
on ISUPK. Kind of funny in the sense that the European society, they use Christianity, but yet they have some type of form of hate for people of color, especially people in the Middle East.
Exactly. They deep down inside know that the Bible's a black book. And white people are the devil. So they're going to do just what the devil does. He don't mind using the Bible to make money. He doesn't mind using the Bible to control people. But he'll never follow what's in that Bible. He'll never go by the laws, statutes, and commandments in that Bible. And it was never for him to do it anyway. It was always for us to do. We're the ones that should be following it because it would improve our lives expeditiously. But we're the ones that are fighting to not follow it. And understandably to a degree, to a point, because black people are looking at anything. Once you become awake and you start to try to identify with black, you start looking at anything associated with the white man with suspect. But looking at the Bible, we better remember that in that book, it clearly tells you Christ was black. The Jews was black. They called Paul a nigger. Or
they have no problem whitewashing it, though.
No, they do not. No, they do not. That's why they've come out with so many different Bibles. You're right. They come out with so many different Bibles in an attempt to take the proof that these are black people that we're reading about. And the sad part is we should embrace it because these are extraordinary black men. And if young black men like you see in the Israelites mimic what's in that Bible and learn from those men in that Bible, they become supermen. That's why they move about this earth and people see them and they so strong and they seem intimidating and they so masculine and they so disciplined because they are reading about other black men who are truly role models. We mad every time some ball player rapes a woman or does some madness because we're looking at the wrong role model. We should be looking at these black role models in this Bible and wash off the idea that this is a white man's book or a white man's philosophy and the whole Christian world.
I agree. Thank you so much. So to focus back on your organization, what's the difference between you and the ISUPK compared to other leaders such as Dr. Umar Johnson and Wesley Muhammad?
Well, here's the thing. First thing you do with that child is teach them their name, teach them who their mother and father is. And you begin to teach them their language. You begin to teach them about them. You teach them about their environment. You teach them about all those things. Okay, all the brothers that are out here have a sense of trying to fix black people. But according to the Bible, the only way to fix black people is by following the rules that God said to follow. And if you don't give black people back their identity and their laws, then you're really fooling yourself. Like, imagine if we woke up tomorrow and they said there's no more laws in Houston. Now, the first thing we better do is put some laws in place, put some rules in place, put some culture and some identity in place. Well, that's what the Bible does. And I don't know much about these brothers, but my understanding is that many of them reject the Bible, which is such a mistake because it has all the solutions.
Okay, doing specifically for the black community?
I mean, I can tell you about all the programs, and I'll mention some today. Ask me that question often. And I tell them, compared to one program that we had, the re-education of black people. That is our biggest, most important programs. For years, many people looked at us and said, all y'all do is teach, which was never true. We've always had many programs. And again, but what people never always underestimated and didn't understand was that re-education and waking up black men so they can wake up black women and raise black families was the most important thing we could ever do. That gave us the biggest commodity the black community needs, which is black men. And so that's our #1 job. But on top of that, we got great food programs all across this country. We feed the homeless, we feed the poor, we distribute food and products all over. We got GED programs. We have a full spectrum of nonprofit work. We have amazing personal counselors. I've got counselors with PhDs and so forth that counsel Black people for nearly free. We've got all kinds of programs. We've got health programs. So we have an array of programs to help every individual person, families, and so forth. But none of it compares to waking our people up.
How can people actually find out more information about these programs or, you know, re-educate themselves through the ISUPK?
They can simply go on our website, ISUPK.com. ISUPK.com.
And also, how many locations and schools does the ISUPK have outside of Houston?
I lost count at something like 30. I hear now we way past that, right? But I stopped counting. So we're all over the world. We're in England, we're in Canada, we're in the Caribbean, we're in Central and South America, and all over the United States. Schools in every city.
Yeah, I know you mentioned earlier, you know, everybody that's a part of, well, that's in the studio with us right now, they're from all over America. Sure. That's just in here. So it's kind of crazy that I'm just even learning about the organization, because the way I found out was I actually was connected with him. I seen him on a video. He was standing outside downtown, I guess, talking to the individual that was passing by. And I was like, you know what, let me really listen to this and ask him if he can come on here and kind of express what y'all really do. Okay. And sitting with you is kind of crazy because it's so many people who are, like you said, it's a time to be conscious now with Trump in office. Right. And we're wanting and we're yearning to know more truth, but sometimes we don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? Well, so what would be your suggestion for us? Like, where should we start?
First of all, we have to do like God said, which is, he said, go into the highways and byways. You want to find out how do we get Black people fixed? How do we, the first thing we got to do is reject all the institutions we've been following. We got to reject the NAACP. We got to reject all of we got to reject all the philosophies of all our leaders. We got to reject all our churches. We got to reject all of it. And you know what we got to do? We got to walk out on the street and find those brothers who are standing up without anybody backing them up and bringing out the truth of our problems. Because the minute we walk into those institutions, we can't get our problems fixed. And so by eliminating them and meeting with these brothers on the street, you're going to begin to see all the problems and all the solutions on how to fix Black people. Are not in the church. They're not in the mosque. They're not in the halls of Congress or the halls of the Senate. No nation has fixed itself from the inside out. It always was a revolutionary, semi-revolutionary way that brought change to Black people and to people all over the world. And so the same has to happen with us today. We have to come together, those that are like-minded and awakening, and begin to follow this Bible and start by getting out on those streets and finding those brothers who are actually following the way that you fix the people. And that's how we get it done.
That's amazing. I want to continue our conversation, but we have to go to a quick commercial break. When we return, we're going to finish with Commanding General Yahanna of the ISUPK. You are listening to The Blackout on Afro Vibes Radio with your girl, Tequila. That's good.
I see you got skills.
I'm trying.
I see you.
Y'all all right?
Journalist.
I know it's a little hot out there. Let me know. We'll cut the fan on for a second. We have to. Yeah, that's real good. See, a lot of times we have people come here, they get nervous. And we have to do all pauses and breaks and we can't do 15 minutes.
Okay, multi-correct. Y'all get back safe. All right,
Okay. Thank y'all. Thank you, because it's a little hot.
I know.
Did you let her in?
Yeah, she's actually sitting on the couch right now.
Okay.
Just run, give it like a minute, whatever. Double check it, move across, and then I'll start again.
Okay. Just got another 15 minutes. We won't take it too much.
Sometimes like the traditional does clap. Can we clap in there, or does it mess up something?
Oh no, you can do that. Yeah. What was it? Can't hear. I'm sorry.
18 minutes. You're on 18 minutes right now.
Oh, that's good.
So you got
As long as I don't go over 45, I'm straight.
You don't let it go to 45? Might as well.
Let him do his thing. Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh yeah, feel free to clap. Whatever.
Okay.
Say side notes. However you feel. I don't even think it's like 30 seconds. It's like that quick. Maybe if it's a good day, maybe a minute. Yeah. That air feels so good.
I know we got to turn it off for a second. I give you another minute. Oh, y'all go.
It's still going live? Oh, okay.
Oh, he's going. No.
And if you don't mind, normally after we finish, we go into the conference room. We have like a little red card that just virtual everybody.
Okay.
Post it to promote the show.
Yeah.
That's okay.
You want to try to get a picture with everybody?
Yeah. I want everybody.
Yeah.
I ain't got the right list for that, man, to get
So they would
everybody.
be like, okay, what's going on?
All right. All right. You good, bro?
I have a question though. So, y'all schools and locations, is this like Black men or?
We only allow blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians in our school. If you're a white man, don't even cross the threshold. We don't want you.
That's right.
So Black women, like, they're welcome to.
Oh, absolutely. We there for black women. We help and counsel some 100 or so black women at one time, all over this country and outside the country. This is our head counselor, General Muhammad, right here. Is our head counselor. We do amazing work. You'd be surprised how much pain and damage our people are suffering in this society silent. That that they never get a chance to receive some therapy for. Matter of fact, therapy period in the black community is almost non-existent. And the Israelite School of UPK provides so much of it.
1 second. I need to get that. Hold on. We're gonna miss something. Hold on. Hey, just look. Hold on.
Ain't no sense
He
saying
going-
that.
look, see, look. He going there right now.
We ain't taping it.
He going there. Right now. Everybody start
I'll re-ask the question.
All right. Y'all ready?
Yeah, I got you.
Good.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Wait. Anybody hear me for one?
It's running there too. Yeah.
Say again.
I said
We'll share the
we
footage.
catch it in 92.
Oh,
sides,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
YouTube,
okay,
on
so we
Facebook,
catch
so
it,
it's
yeah.
show catching us.
We'll share the footage.
Something else I want to go back to too when you asked about what should we do first to start helping black people.
Yeah, we can go back and read the
Yeah, appreciate it.
to just run through the next 20, 25 minutes.
Okay, beautiful.
Hold on. Hey Hey guys, you're Black on the Blackout on Afro Vibes Radio with your girl Tequila. We're still in the studio with the Commanding General Yahanna of the ISUPK. Before we actually went to our commercial break, we were discussing how individuals could re-educate themselves in the Black community. I know you wanted to elaborate more on it, so.
I wanted to say what I didn't get to bring out before. You really want to wake up Black people, and Black people really want to get their lives together. The first thing you should do is recognize the white man is the devil.
That's right, man.
You do that, you on a good path to fixing yourself. Then after that, you got to face the fact that the Christian church completely effeminizes Black men.
That's right.
Even you asked earlier about what's the difference with us. I noticed that almost all religion, whether it be fake Hebrew Israelites, you know, Christians, Muslims, a lot of these organizations are going in a feminine direction, feminizing men, promoting homosexuality, promoting masculinity in women, giving them positions of authority to use and abuse Black men. This society, period, helps destroy Black men. Child support, divisions in the family, breaking up families. And forget about the police brutality that's been going on.
That's right.
We're living in a society, first of all, anybody that begins to wake up realizes what? That a family structure is the husband, the wife, and the children. The white man, like any other empire that has ruled the earth over people, destroys the men of the people they capture so that they can control that society. And our Black men are destroyed. Why? Because the white man is the devil. And all these institutions that I mentioned earlier all take away the masculinity of Black men. That's why when you see, you made a statement earlier, you said, whoa, all these brothers in here. You were joking, of course, but you also was able to pick up on the discipline and masculinity of these brothers. And the reason it seems so shocking sometimes when people see us is because every institution is taking it away from them. Every institution is trying to make Black men halfway homosexual, man. Destroying a family. Listen, the only law, I could go out today, I bring this out all the time, I could buy a house for $1 million today. I could default on that loan. I could owe the bank, you know, $950,000. There's nobody gonna come and put handcuffs on me and put me in a jail cell. But if I miss two $25 payments for child support, there's a warrant for my arrest. That's draconian.
That's right.
That is slavery. That is to destroy us. Government agencies pouring drugs in our neighborhood. How you stop all this? Reject the white man. He's the devil.
That's
recognize.
Right. That's right.
And go back and now get into these streets with these brothers and rebuild who we are.
Yeah, that's a great point that you made. Because I know we always talk about in the studio how, you know, Black women have been made to be the most educated and to work in corporate and almost be the head of the household to where
Ain't no almost. Well,
the head of the household
let's face it.
to where we made Black
I don't
men.
see too many Black women getting thrown out the house, do you? But
This
as
is
Black
true.
men go to the Chinese restaurant at 11 o'clock on any night, there's 30 Black men lined up trying to get a plate of food. Why? Because they got no home. They got no family. They got no wife. Why? Because the white man, it's his intention to put the woman in charge. And here's what's so deep about it, sis. Black people want to reject the Bible and want to treat it like it's a white man's book. When wasn't it in the garden that the serpent told Eve, you would be in power, you would be great, you would be like a god? And here we living in a society that is designed exactly like Satan promised Eve in the garden. So the Bible must be true. And the white man must be the devil.
That's right.
It's time for us to look at it.
That's
so
right.
You're right. They want a woman to be that way. So, and listen, and our greatest women see that and go back and cleave onto these brothers and fix and help and build and free them out of the hands of this white man. There's nothing wrong with a sister being educated. Go get that PhD, that master's, that BA. But just like you said, you didn't want to leave your own for something with that beast. So through the grace and mercy of the Lord, if all our sisters did that, man, we would change Black America. Black men would then, instead of worrying about having to come and bow under some white man would go out and do what these brothers do. Fix other black men, fix other black families, fix other black kids, and set up all kind of programs. If I could bring a couple quick points, if I could. We walking around right now, the government is paying $75 a week to $150 a week to for daycare centers for children. All these brothers freed up across this country could be taking care of those children, and that money could be back in the black community. The white man claiming that he ain't got no money for no schools and school books. We got hundreds of thousands of black men that, if educated right, brought back to the laws of the Bible, we could open up our own schools. Tell the white man, keep your school money. We'll raise our own kids, putting 40 and 50 of our kids in a classroom. That's a recipe for disaster. You go have 10 kids in your house on the weekend. By Monday morning, your house be turned upside down. So how you gonna put 40 kids in a classroom? Only a beast does that. And that's what he's done. So how do we fix it? Let's go on and get these brothers back. Fix these brothers. Bring our identity back. Get our culture back. Make ourselves invincible against the brainwashing and the drug addiction he's pouring on us. And guess what? We're going to have a mighty, wonderful people.
That's right.
And, there's two things I want to say to that. The first is, I have a son, he's 5. And I see how they kind of treat him within the school.
Already. 5.
Yeah,
he's just getting in the door.
He's already had to deal with racism. He's in kindergarten. He's already have to deal with that. And I've noticed that the public school system is almost a direct reflection of the prison system. They're teaching them how to follow directions.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. And the second thing is, I definitely feel like we should have our own schools. It shouldn't be that many kids in a classroom, because it's almost like we're learning stuff that really isn't going to be any more valuable to us once we graduate and get out, versus like you're teaching us about American history, but you're not teaching us how to be financially responsible. So when we get out, we have a credit score of 300 and we only 18 years old. We can't go out like the white kids and go own a business or take over daddy's, whatever he owns. You know what I mean? It's like they don't teach us the things that matter the most to us.
Something to it. You were so right when you say they don't teach us the things that matter to us. And you know what is the number one thing they don't teach us that should matter to us? They don't teach us morals. You go to school all the way to the 12th grade and never learn how to be a moral person with other people, how to interact with a man and a woman, never learn how to resolve conflicts with another black man. That's why we fight soon somebody step on our toe or bump us through a doorway, because these things are not being taught. But guess where they are being taught at? In the Bible. The book that they done got us to reject is where all this knowledge is at. All this knowledge that they want us to put to the side.
And earlier, when we were talking in the first part of the show before we got on air, you had mentioned we're living in a society now where basically you should pretty much be waking up with Trump in office, right?
Exactly.
You should be more conscious, because if they didn't say how they felt before, they're making it clear how they feel now. They're saying it every day.
The Klan runs the White House.
They say it 7 days a week. But one thing that's funny we talked about in my household the other day is marches since Trump has been in office, right? All these people protesting. And the number one person that they have on their side, but that they still control, is the white woman, right?
That's right.
But all of a sudden, white women is coming out saying all these sexual harassment charges. So it's like, we can't take them out of office, but it seems like they found a different way to start exposing their own men. So it looks like it's crumbling on its own without black people even having to intervene.
But you know what is an even more frightening point? What's an even more frightening point is a white woman can say somebody touched her behind, and that white man is going to lose a $25 million job. How many black women have been raped and molested since slavery, and they never get to speak up against it, never get to get into justice? Like the white man, even though they look at it like, oh, it's a, they bring in justice for these women. What we should be looking at is how much they not giving justice for our black woman. Sure. Like for the black woman that sits in church, because that's who's in the church. 75 to 80% of the congregation in the Christian church are women. 5 to 80% of women should be asking themselves a question right now. How is it that a white woman could say she's sexually assaulted and receive so much justice? What is the value of our black woman? She's in the office being molested. You know how many tens of thousands of black women across America who have families at home, have husbands at home, who have been raped on their job, forced into sexual relationships, molested, abused, forget about touching a behind. That's damn near not even a crime no more in the black community. And so all these things have happened to black women, nothing happened. Black man with the camera rolling gets shot to death on camera. And the white man said, well, we got to examine the tape.
Exactly. White
woman just saved, no tape, no recording. They touch my behind and they throw that white man in the street. Black women should be angry at not receiving what their white counterparts are not receiving. And they should remember it when they white counterparts come to them and say, oh, let's get together for women's rights. No, ain't no women's right. It's white women's right.
That's right.
But where's the black woman's right? The black woman should seek out her rights, not from the white man and white woman. He should seek it out from the black man.
That's right.
He'll give her justice.
That's right.
And
That's
real
right.
quick, can you just mention why you feel like it was so important that Trump is in office, why he needed to be in a position he is now for black people to open their eyes?
Oh, Donald Trump. That Klansman piece of garbage needed to get in office for us to wake up. Israelite School of UPK is the only organization prior to Barack Obama's election that said black people should not vote Barack Obama in office. The black community nearly, you see these brothers in this room with me? The black community nearly killed these brothers right here. These brothers right here nearly lost their lives in Washington, D.C., literally, from black people enraged over us saying that, because it was like, how could we not support Barack Obama? But these brothers understood something. They understood that Barack Obama was just the Trojan horse for white people to come out with how they really feel. It's just that they hate us to this day and have always hated us. And now that Barack Obama had his time in office, they now feel comfortable coming all the way out and being the devils that they've been. So what was good about it, even though we should have never done it, what was good about it was it now smacked in the face of all this civil rights talk, of all this love the white man, let's all come together, America's one. We now wake up and find out, oh, we realize America is not one. And anytime you think different, go ask the Mexicans that's being put in cages right now. And they ain't being deported. They being forced into labor up in the state of Washington, fighting fires, building ditches. They being forced right into slavery. And you can best believe they got plans on the table for guess who? Black people also. So it was a good wake-up call that he's in that seat so that we could see how much a devil. And if I could add one other point, we're going to have to face it. We can never fix ourselves by joining white people. This is a hard thing for black people. We've been shoveled down our throat with so much civil rights talk, so much coming together talk, that we can't fathom ever helping ourselves without including them. And we needed the Klan to be in the White House. Like it took all the way till the Klan got in the White House, till the Klan himself got in the White House before we said, oh, wait a minute, maybe we're making a mistake here. Right. He should have put the white. I wish he'd have put the white robe on. If he'd have put the white robe on, that would have sealed the deal. He should have got up in the northern robe on and said, "It's on, boys. We got it now." Because that would have helped seal the deal for black people.
That's very true. And I just want to feedback real quick. I want to ask you, what is the solution to fix the connection between blacks and Hispanics? I know you just mentioned that now Mexicans are kind of realizing that they were no higher on a totem pole than we were. Because before, I think for a minute, they kind of thought they were in, you know, the same area as white people, but they got reminded real quick once Trump got into office.
They thought our poor brothers from Mexico and the other tribe and black people too, we all was under the brainwashing of thinking, you know, somehow Massa likes us. We thought it was because our sports and our black music. Bill Clinton played the saxophone and smoked a little weed. And we just say they love the blackness. They love that. Thought, well, we kind of light skinned and straight hair, so they like that. We all found a way to lie to ourselves and say that white people love them. And white people turn around and just let us know we hate all of you. And here's how we re-educate ourselves. We have to first look at what we've become, which is an identity that's not us. Every Spanish tribe is named after what the Roman Catholic Church wanted to name. Every Spanish tribe is following the Roman Catholic Church through Christianity. We got to throw away everything the white man has, go back into our history, find out who we are as the 12 tribes, and then guess what? We'll realize we the same family. And we should surely easily be able to do it. We in the same jails together. We in the same ghettos together. We got the same drug problems together. We got the same welfare checks together. Like everything that's going on with us is going on with them. I think we should begin to see we the same. We're not no different. And by going into this Bible, we'll bridge the gap. And we got to reach out. Here's another thing, if I could add. We love to find a reason to hate each other and not hate the devil of white man. We mad at Mexicans, and the Mexicans mad at us for next to nothing compared to what the white man did. White man put us in slavery for 400 years. We give him a pass. But we mad at the Mexicans, talk about they taking our jobs. Now they being locked up and deported. I sure don't see black people getting more jobs. I don't see no minimum wage being increased. I don't see them saying, man, we got hiring. Everybody come down. The Mexicans are gone. We got 10,000 jobs in Houston. I don't see none of that. I see black people in the same position they was in before they started deporting the Mexicans. Why? Because, again, we're going to find the smallest reason to hate each other and divide and conquer. What an evil white beast to make us hate the Mexicans over jobs that the white man ain't giving us. What an evil beast to make the Mexicans hate us over God knows what that the white man created. If we don't have jobs, it ain't because the Mexicans, it's because the devil, the white man, won't share the wealth with us. So what the hell we mad with each other for? Once again, you only learn that if you take a chance and open up a black book called the Bible and realize it's a black book. This is a book about niggas. Right. Straight up. Like we got you can go to any country in the world, they got gods they created. But where's the nigger God? Right. The nigger God is that Bible.
Well, real quick before we get ready to wrap up and get out of here, I just want you to explain what's the difference between the ISUPK and other black organizations nationally.
Well, the ISUPK is not an organization. We are a nationality, an identity. And that's the difference with us. The difference with us is that we truly are a people just like other nations around the world. The only difference with us is we've been in exile and our identity has been taken away from us. People create organizations all the time, but only through your ethnic heritage do you identify with who you really are. And so we are not really an organization. We are actually a nation. We are actually like we consider you, treat you, and deal with you as an Israelite, regardless of what religion or organization you may be in. To us, you one of our sisters because you part of that bloodline, which crosses all organizations and ideas and movements and philosophies. We need the truth about who we are, what is our bloodline and who we are, and that's what the ISUPK does.
That's amazing. Thank you for clarifying that.
No sweat.
That's really great. Last thing, I know you guys have a radio podcast coming out, I believe called Word Council. That's what they mentioned. Okay. Could you just kind of real quickly tell us about what how to actually access it and what council will be about.
Okay, who will be able to break down which one?
If I could, sir.
Please.
It's a radio station we started in Dallas, Texas, basically to help Black, Hispanic, and Native American people be able to fight, psychological warfare. Like take for instance, the situation that happened with Meek Mills. Understanding the scriptures.
Oh, you got to get on mic.
It's basically, in a nutshell, it's a radio station we started in Dallas, Texas, to help Black, Hispanic, and Native American people battle psychologically with issues that we have going on in our community. Like I spoke earlier about the instance with Meek Mills. If he would have understood or had a moral compass according to the scriptures, he would have been able to easily defeat that situation that he was dealing with. So we're gonna go inside of the Bible and deal with different current events according to the scriptures and help people fight psychologically.
And how can they actually access this podcast?
It's going to be on the I.S.U.P.K. Texas page. It'll have its official website now, and it's, like I said, it's in the making. It's called War Council.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so before we get out of here, one more time, tell us where we can find out more information about the nation.
That's right.
I.S.U.P.K.
That's right. ISUPK.com is our website. You can find out all about where all our all our schools and camps are at, where we're teaching about all our events. Everything is pushed out of that website. All our videos, our video channels are all encompassed in that website. And anybody can find out about us.
Well, thank you so much. Again, we have Commanding General Yahanna of the I.S.U.P.K. and a slew of his nation is in here today. They came deep, so they real. They about this. Again, we want to thank you guys for tuning to The Blackout with your girl Sequila on Afro Vibes Radio, the #1 online internet radio station. Please make sure to check out our Facebook and Instagram pages at The Blackout Talk Show and our Twitter at The Blackout TS for behind the scenes and more. And to stay up to date on our previous discussions and future events, please visit Afro Vibes Facebook and Instagram at Afro Vibes Radio, Twitter at Afro Vibes Radio with an S. And lastly, listen to us online at www.afrovibesradio.com. or simply download the Afro Vibes Radio app on the Apple or Google Play Store.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was really, really good. I gotta squeeze me in this belly. Cut that fan on. I'm like, so.
Man, I know, man. I know it's warm, man. It's hot.
How